Welcome to our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. I am Nkechi Tejire. Here are our top stories. Federal government moves to clamp down on cooking gas hoarders amid soaring prices. U.S. genocide debate. Hashim slams federal government's failure on insecurity. Cardoso calls for fiscal monetary unity to sustain reforms. Israel to honor Trump with nation's highest civilian award. EPL returns. Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea face defining four-game stretch. Now to the news in full. The federal government has ordered an immediate clampdown on marketers hoarding or exploiting consumers following the sharp rise in the price of liquefied petroleum gas, also known as cooking gas. In a statement released on Monday by his spokesperson, Louis Iba, the minister blamed the price hike on two key disruptions: the recent strike by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria at the Dangote refinery and ongoing maintenance work at the Nigeria LNG Train 4 facility. ECBO assured Nigerians that gas supply is gradually stabilizing as operations have resumed at the Dangote refinery, while NLNG is restoring normal output. He said loading had also commenced at the Bonny River terminal, operated by Seplat Energy. Measures expected to normalize supply and drive down prices by next week. The minister warned marketers against hoarding and sharp practices, directing the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to intensify monitoring and enforce compliance nationwide. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, Ekperikpe Ekpo, issued the directive after prices jumped from about 1,000 naira to nearly 2,000 naira per kilogram in some parts of the country, sparking public outrage. While the government promises relief soon, consumers continue to feel the pinch as cooking gas prices remain high in many parts of the country. The federal government has urged the Academic Staff Union of Universities to suspend its ongoing strike, insisting it has met all the union's demands. ASU's national president, Professor Chris Bewuna, had on Sunday announced the commencement of a total and comprehensive strike across all public universities, citing the government's alleged failure to fulfill its agreements. But the education minister countered the claims, revealing that the government has already paid 50 billion naira in earned academic allowances and submitted a formal counter-proposal to the union. He expressed disappointment that ASU still went ahead with a strike despite ongoing dialogue and what he described as good faith efforts from the Tinubu administration. Dr. Alausa assured students and parents that the federal government remains committed to keeping universities open and will take every step to prevent further disruption to the academic calendar. Minister of Education Dr. Tunji Alausa, who made the appeal on TV, said there is no justification for the two-week warning strike declared by ASU, adding that the government has addressed every single request made by the union. Meanwhile, ASU says the warning strike will last for 2 weeks, pending further discussions with the government. Students and parents across the country are now anxiously watching to see if lectures will resume soon. Former presidential candidate and PDP chieftain Dr. Gbenga Hashim has criticized the federal government for what he calls a shamefully political and dangerously unserious response to Nigeria's worsening insecurity crisis. In a statement over the weekend, the former presidential hopeful accused the ruling All Progressives Congress of focusing more on political maneuvering ahead of the 2027 elections than on securing the country. He said, and I quote, "This government treats the blood of innocent Nigerians like a campaign statistic. The APC is more interested in securing PDP governance than securing Nigeria." Hashim described the U.S. genocide debate as a wake-up call, warning that terrorist networks could soon establish parallel governments in northern Nigeria if the situation persists. He added that many politicians have become fixated on the next election cycle while ignoring what he termed the fire already consuming the nation. Hashim said the government's failure to decisively confront terrorists and bandits had triggered international concern, including recent debates in the United States about placing Nigeria on a human rights watch list. Hashim urged national leaders to put politics aside and confront insecurity head-on, warning that continued negligence could undermine the country's unity and stability before 2027. Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi has dismissed reports claiming he is in talks with former President Goodluck Jonathan to form a political alliance ahead of the 2027 elections. Tanko, who spoke to newsmen, said the reports are baseless and politically motivated, stressing that even their meeting in Ghana earlier this year was purely a platonic discussion on national development. He added that Obi's focus remains on rebuilding Nigeria through accountability and governance reforms, not political scheming. Recall that calls have recently intensified for former President Goodluck Jonathan to return to the race under the PDP platform, with allies hinting that discussions were at an advanced stage. But Obi's camp insists there is no pact, no plan, and no alliance between the two men ahead of 2027. Obi's media aide, Dr. Yunusa Tanko, clarified that while both leaders share mutual respect and often discuss national issues, there is no agreement or plan to unseat President Bola Tinubu. For now, Peter Obi says his priority remains the people, not politics, shutting down yet another rumor ahead of the 2027 polls. There's growing unease within the People's Democratic Party as Governors Peter Mba of Enugu State and Doye Diri of Bayelsa reportedly prepared to defect to the ruling All Progressives Congress. The two governors, both elected on the PDP platform, are said to have concluded plans to formally join the APC, though the move may be delayed following leadership tussles in the Enugu chapter of the party. In Bayelsa, APC Chairman Chief Dennis Ototo says the party is ready to welcome Governor Diri anytime he decides to defect, adding that the move will strengthen President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda ahead of 2027. However, critics like former Commissioner Furebi Akene have slammed the defections as shameless and politically bankrupt, accusing politicians of jumping ship for self-preservation. Ijaw leader Joseph Ambakaderimo, on the other hand, described the move as a courageous step that could give the South-South a stronger voice in national politics. Meanwhile, in Enugu, the dissolved APC EXCO insists it remains the authentic leadership, calling its dissolution illegal and a violation of the party's constitution. And from Lagos, PDP stalwart Chief Bode George has condemned the planned defections as disgusting, disgraceful, and destabilizing, warning that turning Nigeria into a one-party state would be a great national failure. While the PDP leadership in both states has remained silent, reactions are pouring in from stakeholders. In Bayelsa, some describe Diri's planned move as strategic alignment with the federal government, while others say it's purely self-serving. Similarly, the APC in Enugu is battling internal division after its National Working Committee dissolved the State Executive Council and appointed a caretaker team led by Ben Nwoye. With just days to the expected defection date, political tension is building across both states as party loyalists brace for what could reshape alignments ahead of the 2027 general elections. The Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Olayemi Cardoso has called for stronger coordination between fiscal and monetary authorities to sustain the country's reform momentum and attract long-term investment. The dialogue, supported by JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, and moderated by Professor Helen Ray, explored Nigeria's reform trajectory in a changing global economy. Cardoso emphasized that communication is itself a policy tool, noting that without clarity and transparency, monetary policy loses credibility. He said reforms such as foreign exchange unification and subsidy rationalization were long overdue and must now be accompanied by sustained coordination between fiscal and monetary authorities. Senior advisor to the governor, Dr. Nkiru Balongu, also reaffirmed the CBN's commitment to transparency, describing it as not just style but policy. Cardoso added that while the reforms have been painful, public trust is gradually being restored as Nigerians begin to understand the link between stability today and prosperity tomorrow. Speaking at the London Business School's Wheeler Institute for Business and Development, Cardoso said clear communication, credible data, and policy alignment are vital to preserving investor confidence and maintaining macroeconomic stability. The CBN governor maintained that no central bank can stabilize an economy in isolation, stressing that fiscal and monetary hands must shake firmly and move in the same direction. Still on business news, Nigeria's equities market surged last week, with investors pocketing over 2.16 trillion naira in profit, the biggest weekly gain so far this year. Data from the Nigerian Exchange Group show market capitalization jumped from 91.135 trillion naira to 93.296 trillion naira, while the all-share index climbed 2.4% to close at 146,988 points. Analysts say the rally was largely driven by gains in heavyweights like MTN Nigeria, Dangote Cement, Seplat, Lafarge, and Stanbic IBTC. Sectional performance was also upbeat. Industrial goods rose 4.2%, insurance 3.7%, and oil and gas 2.9%, while banking stocks slipped slightly by 0.4%. Despite the positive run, total market activity slowed, with trading volume and value dropping by over 70% and 20%, respectively. Market watchers from Cadros Research and Invest Data Consulting predict continued optimism driven by strong corporate earnings expectations and possible inflation moderation that could influence a rate cut at the next MPC meeting. The bullish run, marking the fifth consecutive week of growth, comes as investors await the third quarter of 2025 earnings results and the September inflation figures expected to shape trading sentiments in the weeks ahead. As investors reposition portfolios ahead of earnings releases and macro data, analysts say any pullbacks could open fresh buying opportunities in a market showing renewed resilience. You're watching our Daily News Roundup for today right here on Atlantic TV. We'll go for a short break. More news stories on the foreign scene and on sports news when we return.
Alright, my name is Desoka, the comedy catalyst of one of Nigerian comedy.
Alright guys, back again, yes boss, my name is Osh Baby.
Yemi Alade.
Yeah, what up people, it's your boy Victor Edi.
Girl Niniola.
My name is my wife, Ninja Celebrity type man.
My papa say, who won't carry cow, waka go, waka follow the cow. I know the life for you.
I see you know you're watching the Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Keep watching Atlantic TV.
Atlantic TV.
Informative, educative, interesting, entertaining.
Worldwide, international.
Don't go anywhere or I'll catch you.
Don't touch that die. Atlantic TV. Boom.
Atlantic TV, we wanna party.
Atlantic TV. Culturally inclined and uniquely different.
Welcome back. On the foreign scene, Israel's President Isaac Herzog says the country will present its highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Honor, to U.S. President Donald Trump for his role in securing the release of hostages from Gaza and brokering a ceasefire deal. The visit coincides with the first phase of a Trump-brokered peace plan, a 20-point framework that includes a hostage prisoner exchange between Israel and Hamas. The Israeli presidency says the medal recognizes individuals who have made outstanding contributions to Israel or humanity. Former U.S. President Barack Obama received the same honor in 2013. During his brief visit, President Trump is expected to meet families of freed hostages and address Israel's parliament, the Knesset. Herzog, in a statement from Jerusalem, described Trump's efforts as tireless, saying they paved the way for a new era of peace and cooperation in the Middle East. The award will be presented in the coming months when President Trump visits Israel. The Presidential Medal of Honor ceremony is expected to symbolize a renewed alliance between Washington and Jerusalem and marks a milestone in the Middle East peace process. In Dubai, the world's biggest technology and startup exhibition, GTEX Global 2025, has officially kicked off at the Dubai World Trade Center, spotlighting innovations in artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and quantum computing. Speakers lined up for the event include OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and other global thought leaders in AI and digital transformation. This year's edition also sees Turkey makes its debut with the joint pavilion Tokon Invest in Turkey, featuring over 50 firms across fintech, cybersecurity, robotics, and AI. The 45th edition of GTEX Global runs through Friday, October 17th, highlighting global collaboration and investment opportunities in the fast-evolving tech space. From Dubai, GTEX Global continues to set the pace for innovation and cross-border partnerships, reinforcing its status as the world's gateway to the future of technology. Over 6,800 companies from 180 countries are participating in the 5-day tech event, including industry giants like Google, Huawei, Microsoft, and IBM. Organizers say more than 40 unicorn startups and 2,000 emerging companies are showcasing next-generation technologies shaping the global digital economy. Away from the foreign scene now to sports news, the international break is over and the Premier League returns this weekend with title contenders Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City, and Chelsea entering a crucial 4-match run that could shape the title race before the next international window. Arsenal will look to extend their lead when they face Crystal Palace, Burnley, Fulham, and Sunderland, a favorable run for Mikel Arteta's side. Liverpool, meanwhile, face their toughest stretch yet, hosting Manchester United and Aston Villa before visiting Brentford and Manchester City. Pep Guardiola's men have a manageable schedule on paper, with Everton and Bournemouth at home, Aston Villa away, and Liverpool at the Etihad. At Stamford Bridge, Enzo Maresca's young Chelsea team continue to build momentum with fixtures against Nottingham Forest, Sunderland, Wolves, and a high-stakes London derby versus Tottenham Hotspur. Analysts say this 4-game block could determine who tops the table heading into December. Just 5 points separates the top 7 teams, making every fixture count. Arsenal leads the table with 16 points, followed by Liverpool on 15, Tottenham and Bournemouth on 14, while City trail with 13 and Chelsea on 11. As the Premier League resumes, fans can expect drama, intensity, and title-defining moments, with every match now a must-win in England's most unpredictable season yet. It was a night of history and heartbreak for Everton women as they played their first Women's Super League game at the new Bramley Moore Dock Stadium, but Manchester United had the final say, winning 4-1. United dominated possession from the start, creating multiple early chances before Everton's opener came against the run of play. The toughest celebrations were short-lived. Marlat's equalizer restored parity in the 62nd minute, and United never looked back. Kitagawa's unlucky deflection gave United the lead, and substitute Jess Park added 2 well-taken goals to complete the rout. Despite the result, it was a historic and emotional night for Everton fans. Flags, chants, and the traditional Z-Cars theme marked their debut WSL outing at Bramley Moor Dock. But in the end, United's clash told, cutting the gap to league leaders Chelsea to just 2 points. A record crowd of 18,154 watched as Honoka Hayashi gave Everton a dream start, pouncing on a rebound to score their first ever WSL goal at the new venue. But United hit back through Melvin Marlat before Hikaru Kitagawa's own goal and a late brace from Jess Park sealed a dominant comeback for Mark Skinner's side. For Everton, the wait for a first home win goes on, but their slice of WSL history at Bramley Moor Dock will live long to the memory, even if the results didn't go their way. And with that sports news, we come to the end of our Daily News Roundup for today, right here on Atlantic TV. Do all to follow us on all our social media platforms for more news stories and headline updates. Thank you so much for watching. I am Nkechi Techere. Have a pleasant day.